Sword of Flames! This is the new world, new translation! New world, new translation! Let's get ready for the Ripper remix! And I'm a parasite that I can't control my own reactions and satisfaction! I can't control the beast that's living inside me! I don the red. Red's the color of the blood. I had to steal from all the wicked.
What's up, my arch fiends of chaos? Your king and I, Vince Valentine EX Turk, only got 3 hours of sleep. And because of that, I look like shit today. So you're not gonna be seeing no webcam video today, unfortunately. You just have to look at my beautiful face on the screen as my thumbnail. So I'm gonna be talking about why Sephiroth is my favorite Final Fantasy villain. And not just only why, but why Sephiroth was actually ingenious and why Sephiroth is actually a good villain. Now, to number one, Sephiroth started as a hero until he figured out the truth about the world, which put him into some deep nihilism and have nihilistic views about the world. And the only thing he was close to was the alien that was perceived to be his mother because they lied and tricked him. So, you know, the alien and Sephiroth actually formed a bond, and, you know, the stuff that happened, you know, then they started having the same idea for at least a little bit. But not to mention that we thought Jenova was the one that was responsible for the world's destruction, just because she did 2,000 years ago. When it was actually Sephiroth that actually took control of Jenova. That's why Jenova wanted to lose that battle. That's why Jenova was, was easy to beat, because she just wanted her life to end, considering Sephiroth was taking control of her and was taking things too far. Now, with Sephiroth, he never actually repented or changed his ways. Now, for a character reason, that's actually pretty bad to be one-sided, but at least with Sephiroth stuck to his goal, even though his goal was evil, because he wanted to destroy the world and recreate it in his own image, as if he was God himself. You know, it was still an evil goal, but the fact is, he still stayed himself, and he never changed his personality, no matter what entry. Kingdom Hearts, Dissidia. Now, in the first Dissidia, he kind of lost his memory, which every Final Fantasy character did, so I don't count that, but he still had at least some idea on wanting to rule the world. And matter of fact, I think Sephiroth would have betrayed Chaos and actually would have successfully done it, and that's probably why he recruited Cloud, because he thought, you know, he probably Cloud that would probably help him in his ways of doing that. Now, nonetheless, Sephiroth never changed no matter what entry. Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy VII, and another reason why I like Sephiroth more than I do Arden, even though, you know, Arden is technically strong with the immortality, you know, Sephiroth actually had good reasons to be evil. Sephiroth actually had real, legitimate reasons. I mean, he was taken away from his actual mother from birth. From the day he was born, he was taken away from his actual birth mother. He was lied to, told him that, you know, he was bred to be the hero, when really he was one of the monsters that Shinra was actually constructing. And then, you know, Sephiroth developed a god complex because, well, he said he had to rule because he thought humans were evil and wanted to do away with the world just like he did with Shinra. But also, there's also another reason why Sephiroth is my favorite villain besides all of that. Sephiroth is my favorite Final Fantasy villain because everyone actually had one common goal. You know, if it wasn't for if it wasn't Shinra, but most people, there's a couple of at least people that weren't directly affected by Shinra as hard or heavy. So Sephiroth was actually the end goal. You know, even though Vincent Valentine was hesitant to destroy Sephiroth because that's Lucretia's, you know, son. That's Lucretia's baby boy. You know, he actually decided that he's more like Hojo than he is Lucretia. So even Vincent Valentine, the true anti-hero who doesn't care about anything or anyone, since he already got revenge on Hojo, actually ends up helping Cloud with that fight. Of course, he was actually never part of that fight in the first place. He was only there to evacuate citizens, but, you know, they did give him a little dialogue saying that you're just like Hojo, it's time for you to sleep forever. So, he, you know, even got Vincent to helping him. Like Sephiroth, even though Sephiroth was a bad guy, he pretty much got everybody to unify. Even Shinra was even gonna let at least Avalanche help them on their quest to find Sephiroth, because now it's for the fate of the world. It's for the fate of the entire world, to stop Sephiroth. So Sephiroth actually helped, bond new friendships. And after Rufus Shinra got defeated by the weapon and survived, and Sephiroth came back through the remnants, and Kadash paid a visit to Rufus. Rufus wanted to recruit Cloud. That tells you something. Rufus was originally enemies with Cloud because Cloud was part of Avalanche. Now Rufus Shinra wants to use the remaining part of Shinra to help Avalanche and the WRO in the future. So Sephiroth actually pretty much unified the entire world. Even though it was against him, he unified the entire world. So indirectly, Sephiroth was actually pretty much kind of a hero, because before you would never see all these people from these different tribes, or even Shinra and Avalanche working together in the future. You would never see any of this stuff happen. So technically, Sephiroth has bought peace, even though with his evil nonsense. But even and then there's not only that, Sephiroth is also a really good villain because, and not because of and this is probably why he's popular. Unlike Kefka just wants to destroy things. Kefka is just an insane clown who wants to be the Joker, who wants to destroy things. Sephiroth actually had Sephiroth was actually more of a deep villain, because you would have to actually get into a psyche and figure out why he did what he did. And unlike Arden, he had legitimate reasons. Now, the other reason why I like Sephiroth was one of the other villains that actually, which I guess this is why people like Kefka, because Kefka done this too, but they've actually took at least some good part of Kefka. Sephiroth actually directly affected the psyche of the protagonist 2 times. First, by killing Aeris and making Cloud feel guilty because of being almost possessed by Sephiroth, thus bringing Cloud the guilt he has in Avid Children, and even in at least some parts of the game. But also, in the Kingdom Hearts verse, Sephiroth was the heartless. It was no storm that destroyed the Final Fantasy world. It was Sephiroth, Cloud's heartless, the dark part of Cloud, at least in that canon, that destroyed everything. In fact, it made Cloud an evil villain, just because Cloud lust after revenge. Cloud became more of a what you call darker version of Vincent Valentine in the Kingdom Hearts verse, even working with one of the biggest Disney villains just to get Sephiroth stopped once and for all. So Sephiroth has actually caused Cloud to go bad. So Sephiroth is also a good villain because he's also could break the morality that the main protagonists have. Now, Cloud, even though he's nonchalant all the time, Cloud was still considered a hero in Final Fantasy VII, and now Sephiroth is responsible for our childhoods being ruined, because in Kingdom Hearts 1, Cloud was a villain because of Sephiroth, because it said some storm, but it was actually a Heartless. It makes sense. I'm still going to go with that theory. But nonetheless, Cloud was actually evil in Kingdom Hearts 1 because of Sephiroth. So Sephiroth has not only made Cloud depressed and hate himself for the death of Aeris, and for and also the realization that Cloud is not Zack, but he's also caused Cloud to change his morality stance and change his morality to something opposite of what Cloud believed in before. Even though Cloud was nonchalant, Cloud was heroic in Final Fantasy VII, even with a nonchalant attitude. He was kind of the devil-may-care type of character. But Sephiroth has changed that in the Kingdom Hearts verse, and it made him just like how he is. Except Sora saved Cloud, and Cloud no longer uses the darkness anymore. Which, Sephiroth is kind of irritated at that, but nonetheless, it's the fact. It's also the fact that Sephiroth he changes the morality of people too. He makes people question their own beliefs. Sephiroth is a perfect troll when it comes to that. Even though I don't like trolls, Sephiroth is a perfect troll for the fact he can make you question your things. He even made Warrior of Light, and he even made Warrior of Light in Dissidia, the first one, question what he actually fights for. And same thing with Furion. So pretty much Sephiroth makes you think about makes you think about what you truly fight for. He exposes the truth, pretty much. If anything, Sephiroth is pretty much a swordsman version of Psychopass's villain, Shugo Makishima. Like, he has a goal in mind, and he wants to expose how evil and wicked the world you're trying to defend is. So that's why Sephiroth does what he does. He's pretty much like a god complex samurai version of Shugo Makishima. He wants to make you question who you fight for and why you fight for, and why you defend a planet full of evil human beings. At least in his mind, he thinks everybody's evil except himself, which he was kind of a purist on that, which also makes Sephiroth pretty terrifying as it is, because it makes Sephiroth as terrifying as possible because Sephiroth also thinks he's the true hero, and he's a savior, and everybody's evil, and evil should be wiped out, which makes him kind of scary, because people with those kind of complexes, you already know what's going to happen. Not only that, Sephiroth formed a cult in Final Fantasy VII with all the Sephiroth clones in Nibelheim, and caused those Sephiroth clones that were once regular average Joe people that drink the water in Nibelheim, he caused them to commit suicide to give him the power he needs for the black materia. So he's pretty much convinced. He's even convinced innocent civilians to take their own life for his cause by controlling his cells that are inside people through the water supply of Nibelheim, which that's what turned people into Sephiroth clones, and then they rebuild the town like nothing has happened. So, and it's also the fact that Sephiroth started out as a great hero, but then he found out the truth that Sephiroth grew up in hard times, not only as a kid, but as an adult. Finding out everything and how he's made is pretty tough. Finding out that you're created to be a monster, that you're exactly what those things are in the reactor, is not easy to take in. You start to have this self-loathing and hatred of yourself to the point where it makes you it drives you mad. So everything that Shinra did to Sephiroth gives Sephiroth a legitimate reason to do what he does, because Shinra fucked his whole life up. They took him from his mother as an infant. He never knew his birth mother, and Hojo's told lie after lie. He even tell Sephiroth the truth that he was Sephiroth's father. So, Hojo being a shit father, and probably abused Sephiroth at a young age, until he became the perfect soldier, that stuff messes with you. And it turns you against humanity. So, pretty much, Sephiroth is a monster that was created by society. By the society of that world. So, that's exactly why Sephiroth turned into what he is. So, that's why Sephiroth is my favorite Final Fantasy villain, video game villain ever. And may the crystal be with you. Tell me some good facts about Sephiroth in the comments below. Or if you want to debate me on why someone else is a better villain, you could do that too. But may the crystal be with you. This has been a Sephiroth fanboy video.